remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku Animation News Network, and today I'm taking a look at IDW's successor to Godzilla rivals, Godzilla vs. America. Godzilla vs. America replaces the rival series as an anthology of tales that are written and drawn by people who are from the cities featured. This premiere issue centers on stories set in Chicago, with each having its own writer and artist. We've got Mike Accosta, who has worked on GI Joe and Venom comics. Tim Seeley has also written for GI Joe, the big two companies, and was the creator of HackSlash. Caroline Cash is known for a series called PeePeePooPoo, while Ezra C Daniels has written episodes of Doom Patrol and a series called Horror Noire. Finally, the artist for the first story, Browne, created a comic book called God Hates Astronauts. It is an intriguing idea. Is Godzilla vs. Chicago as magnanimous as a metropolis? Or does it amount to nothing but a fart in the wind? Watch to find out. The characters and plot. Godzilla vs. Chicago is broken up into 4 separate stories. The first, Godzilla Does Chicago, is a really stupid as hell tale about some dude who has a fan attached to his back that accidentally blocks a winning play in a football game and becomes hated by the masses. Disgruntled, he steals Mechagodzilla from a secret lab he took up a job at as a janitor to get revenge. Godzilla shows up and a fight ensues. Like I said, the story is so goddamn dumb and boring despite being like 10 pages long. The only redeeming piece was this panel that revolved around a corrupt dentist. The next story, Blue Line Sign, revolves around a girl named Jessie. Jessie finds herself on a train with the guy she had a crush on in high school and constantly thinks about telling him her feelings when Godzilla emerges. The duo finds themselves having to work together to drive the train away from Godzilla before they all die. I can't say this story did much of anything for me either, but I did find the sequence of them finding the conductor's remains shocking. Chi Godzilla is the title of the third narrative. Godzilla loses a fight against a space amoeba and needs to recharge in the nearest city, Chicago. A real estate tycoon volunteers to help lure Godzilla to a suburban area he has been trying to purchase for a long time to keep him out of the city, clearly obtaining his objective while also being hailed a hero for saving Chicago. This leaves the neighborhood in a panic, having to come up with a plan to save their homes on their own. It's rather pointless, but has a nice little plot twist that is well justified. This was my favorite of the 4 stories, though that's not really saying much. Finally, our comic ends with the final tale of terror, Godzilla vs. Chicago. In this one, Godzilla comes to Chicago and, yeah, that happens. I think the girl is having some sort of acid trip or something. It's just a bunch of random nonsense. The monsters. We get 4 different takes on Godzilla. Obviously, there's not much in the way of a personality for Godzilla outside of what the art itself describes with his designs. The first story's Godzilla is based on his Heisei look, which makes sense given it features Mechagodzilla, who is the same. Blue Line's version looks to be a mix of the thickness of his Monsterverse look with the Heisei one. The Godzilla in the third tale just makes me think of how he would look if he appeared in an episode of The Simpsons. I'm not sure why, but those eyebrows and that flat face just make me think of Homer. And then we have 2000 Goji to end the comic off. The artwork. Each story has its own artist, all of which is distinct and fits the tone of that tale. My favorite of the lot was Godzilla vs. Chicago's art, despite the narrative being random nonsense. Having everything be colored in black with green tones really set it apart from the other stories. This panel of Godzilla's head above water makes him look terrifying. The cartoony art of the third tale pops thanks to the inks used on the characters. I really enjoyed this piece here. I do like how the Blue Line story went for a more realistic look that worked, whereas Godzilla Does Chicago mixed realism with eccentricity. There are some stellar colors used for the moment Godzilla rises out of the sea to attack Mechagodzilla. I also love how Godzilla oozes with water dripping off of him. I honestly have no idea what IDW's goal for this series is, but for this first issue, I am left unimpressed. The art is the only thing keeping this unmitigated trash from being a complete bore. If this is a sign of things to come, this series is going to be painful to review. Let's hope the next issue is better. Until next time, bye.